This is Ki-hyung Kim from Korea University Business School, and today I'm going to present a paper on the negative effect of hurtful message. So my research motivation is cooperation. So the only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation. As you see, we as a humankind, we all on the earth now, and we are all facing the critical issue of climate crisis. So oftentimes many times we hear about we need to cooperate to solve these grand challenges that we now face. Yes, you now see a lot of students, a lot of citizens now taking part in their climate action. Why? Because individual behavior matters for the climate. Actually, 40% of greenhouse gas emissions are from individual lifestyle, and 10% of overall energy consumption is from individuals. So international community follows a call for changes in individuals' behaviors for fighting the climate crisis. So that means that not just governments or not just corporations, but individual consumers' lifestyle matters. And as a citizen, every consumer should take part in reducing greenhouse gas emissions in whatever the form are. So this is called collective action. It is a situation in which the short-term self-interest or personal conflict with long-term collective interests. Individuals should choose whether to participate in achieving common goals or not. However, people tend to not participate, as we observed in many cases. People free ride and exert less efforts than they do for achieving their personal goals. Like myself, we oftentimes free ride. We oftentimes do not have enough passion for the common goals, just as we as an individual pursue our own personal goals. So there is a need for research in terms of collective action problem. However, the psychological mechanism of collective action is a bit complex. In the upper side, when we pursue our personal goal, the psychological mechanism is not that complex. If we put our efforts, then we do achieve our individual performance. Like we want to go gym 30 times, and then we expect that our individual outcome, which is healthier life, can be achieved. However, in a collective or group setting, our efforts leads to individual performance, for example, recycling 30 times. However, if we do our best, even when we do our best, we cannot make sure that collective performance, better performance can be achieved because we are doubting about others, and we are not 100% sure about what others are doing or whether they will participate, whether they do exert the same level of efforts as I do for the climate. So the more people are pessimistic about others' participation, then probably it'll be hard for he or she to take exert. And then also, even though we achieved collective performance, we are not sure about achieving collective outcome, healthier Earth or healthier society, because it seems really grandiose, it seems really big. So here is a problem of social dilemma and social loafing. And the main reason that I want to deal with this in this research is that people oftentimes feel that their efforts are not meaningful, a drop in a bucket. So I suggest a solution based on consumer marketing research of goal proximity effect. So setting a collective goal makes people feel that there are some progress toward the goal. And this experience of small success toward a small goal leads people to believe that actually achieving a grand collective outcome is possible. For example, if we just achieve a small amount of reducing certain kinds of waste in like university campus or in a small town, then that kind of experience or efficacy-based construct leads us to think that, oh, maybe in this way we can solve the climate issue even. However, the one really interesting research question that I came up with is a hopeful message. Whether hopeful message deter or accelerate this effect. In this research, I deal with the I found that the actually hopeful message deter is a positive effect of collective goal proximity and perceived goal progress. There's the good news from a participation. Actually, there are conflicting results. Some research says, yeah, it increases, but others says it decreases. In reality, actually, international community, UN now recently announced that actually we successfully reduced a certain kind of ozone layer emission chemicals. So actually, there are hopeful news. I would say there are hopeful news regarding climate issues. In this picture, you see in the 80s, scientists discovered a harmful hole in the ozone layer. You probably remember, right? And the ozone layer on the pace to recover 1980 values thanks to the humankind efforts, right, reducing certain kind of chemicals out of our lifestyle products. So actually, there's a hope. There we achieved a kind of really meaningful milestone. And ozone layers recovery is a very an environmental success story, they say. However, my question is that, is this kind of hopeful news actually deterred your participation or makes you more participate? So here is a research summary. I'll come with a summary, summarize results first for your better understanding, and then probably go to detail. So here is a research summary. I did several studies, 3 experiments, scenario-based experiments. So in study 1, I deal with the citizenship behavior. It was using reusable coffee cups instead of disposable plastic cups. So I come with a kind of actual app. So you can take picture of your QR code in your reusable coffee cups, and it counts your number. And you collectively, in your community, you aim to collectively achieve using these reusable coffee cups to 20,000 times for your local community. So it means that every day you use for 30 days, and then other people need to also join to achieve 20,000 times altogether. So it's kind of a collective action setting. Here's the 2 conditions I proposed. The left side, you see 30% achieved, and the right side, you see a 55% achieved. So here I come with the 2 conditions. And in study 2, another collective action setting. So here is 10,000 people in a local community aiming to achieve $100,000 US dollars for the local community environmental protection activities. And 2 binary conditions, 5% achieved, and the other condition, 95% achieved. So you read one of the 2 scenario, and then you are asked whether you join or not. And in study 3, here is a crowdfunding scenario. So left side, you see an overcharger breaker, which actually a device for reducing electricity over usages. And here comes a crowdfunding campaign for producing it. And now you faced with the 2 conditions, whether you participate or not, when 5% of goal amount is funded or 95% of goal amount has been funded. So all these 3 scenarios assume that we collectively achieve to reducing carbon emissions. But instead of just asking people to participate, I come up with a very concrete number of collective goal to ask participants to come and join a campaign whether it's a donation, crowdfunding, or using coffee cups multiple times altogether. So here is a research summary and research model. So perceived goal progress, which is induced by the goal proximity effect, I mean like 5% 90 versus 95%, you probably perceive that there is a higher perceived goal progress when the 95% has been achieved instead of 5%. So this kind of perceived goal progress toward a very concrete number of goals makes people to participate in collective action. And I proved the psychological mechanism in this perceived goal progress and collective action intention. The first mediator, which is perceived behavior impact, is that how you perceive your behavior matters for achieving collective goal. And the second mediator, collective outcome expectancy, is that you expect the climate crisis or the grand scale social problem can be actually solved. So this is a psychological mechanism that I want to prove. And the other moderating effect, which is interesting, is a hopeful news negative effect in these psychological mechanisms. So this is a brief summary of actually 3 experimental results. So here, I would say the perceived behavior impact, it matters. So how you perceive your behavior, your like one-time recycling or one-time purchase matters for collective goal, actually makes you participate for the collective efforts for climate. However, when the hopeful news is given, this effect is deterred. So if you have questions regarding the research result, then you can type your comments on chat at any time at your convenience. So for the 15 minutes, I will go more in detail. So here is a research background. So I adopted like collective efforts model and social impact theory to set up my hypothesis. So as I explained, the experimental setting is that individual matters collectively achieve certain kind of performance, which is called goal. For example, 10,000 times of using or 100,000 US dollar, and then collective outcome, which is in a greater scale, like reducing carbon emission. Here I adopted expectancy theory and collective efforts model and social impact theory. As I explained earlier, in personal effort, contingencies are not very complex, but in contingency in collective efforts are a bit complex, which means that individual performance leads to collective performance and collective performance leads to collective outcome. So I would say here is another level that one need to consider. So hypothesis 1 comes out of the goal proximity hypothesis, which is well established theory in marketing, consumer research. In collective setting, people respond to others' contributions similarly to how they respond to their actions toward achieving their personal goals. So a goal proximity hypothesis also apply to crowdfunding and microlending and donation settings. So here is a hypothesis 1. And why is it like that? Because people believe that their contribution matters as they approach to the goal. The perceived impact, a belief that the efforts of an individual can make a difference in collective performance, it affects collective behavior intentions. People do not participate if their contribution is not perceived to be meaningful, which is a main cause of social dilemma problems. So a belief that one's participation makes a difference in achieving collective outcome better predicts collective action. Also, another research says collective goal proximity also increases perceived impact, and perceived impact increase collective action intention. So here comes a second hypothesis, which is a mediating effect. I termed it as a perceived behavior impact. And third, collective outcome expectancy matters as well. I assume the perceived behavior impact affects collective outcome expectancy and then collective action intention. The reason is that people tend to overestimate their behavior impact. The sum of their perceived contribution exceeds their actual collective performance. This means that people tend to overestimate their behavior impact and interpret it as a sign of or cue of achieving like grand social challenges. This tendency makes them have overly optimistic appraisal of attaining collective outcome. In addition to this, when the goal proximity information is given, people move their reference points from abstract outcome to concrete performance. So I assume the serial mediation effect in here. Okay, thanks. And here comes a moderation effect of hope. Some literature pointing out that high expectation actually negatively impacts pro-environmental behaviors. When the outcome is highly expected, people tend to reduce their efforts. Participants who felt uniquely superior expend less efforts in an easy task, but in a more working harder actually in a more challenging task. It means that imagine that when the international community says, "Oh, we can solve the climate crisis," is actually we are almost there. Then it means that people actually tend to not participate because people think that we are already there. The outcome is highly expected. The outcome is even almost certain. So I don't need to probably exert my efforts or taking some efforts to do more, because other people are probably already doing, and we are already almost there in achieving the ultimate goal of international community. And this kind of thoughts deters the previous positive effect of goal proximity. So here comes a hypothesis 4. Awful news moderates the mediation effect of perceived behavior impact. And also hypothesis 5. Awful news also moderates the serial mediation effect. So here comes a research model. So I'm going to go detail in 3 experiments, study 1 and study 2 and study 3. All 3 studies assume a collective of 1,000 local residents or 10,000 local residents, and also gives a certain level of collective goal, which is 20,000 numbers of using a multiple-use coffee cups instead of disposable plastic, and 100,000 US dollar donations or 10,000 US dollar crowdfunding. And I come up with a between subject design 2x2 in all cases. So high and low goal proximity, like 30%, 55%, 5% versus 95%, and 2 binary conditions of hope, which is a negative hopeful news or high hopeful news, which means that I adopted this from the previous research. It's a news regarding climate crisis. It says that collective climate efforts of citizens helps to save the planet, or actually it fails to save the planet. And it's a hypothetical newspaper, and it explains that, like, fortunately people can always have a significant effect, or unfortunately people cannot have significant effect, and so on. So I manipulated hope by these two scenarios. In study 1, I tested the citizenship behavior, which is using multi-use coffee cups instead of disposable plastic cups. It's a serious problem in Korea, so I take the examples out of real cases. Here's the design: 30% versus 55%, and also hope. So main effect was supported as people perceived they are more progress toward the goal. It leads people to take part in collective action. So in 55%, people actually more participated compared to 30%. Mediation effect was also supported. So here is the full mediation effect was valid. The serial mediation was also supported. And here is a moderated mediation effect by hopeful news. It turned out that hopeful news actually deters this positive effect of perceived goal progress through perceived behavior impact. In the graph, you see as people more feel that they are progressed toward the goal, in a high hope condition, which is 2 here, the red line, actually it nullified the positive effect of previous effects. However, in a low hope scenario, the positive effect was still valid. It means that when the positive news, hopeful news is given, people tend to not be affected by the perceived goal progress, whether it's 30% or 55%. Probably people might think that we are already there, we are almost there, so I don't care about whether it's a 30% or 55%. I will not participate. This kind of probably thoughts. So you see, like, it's a not interaction effect, but you see the difference. Just to see the not statistically, not statistically significant, but I just wanted to show the picture, the main directions. So in a low hope, the main effect was valid, but in the high hope condition, it was actually the opposite direction. So as you approach more to the goal, like 30% to 55%, actually, because the hope is too high, people reduce their efforts. In study 2, so 5% versus 95%. And I also give the same news article regarding the hope. In here, I replicated the finding of moderated mediation of hopeful news. And actually, it moderated serial mediation of 2 mediators. So you now see the graph again. So in a high hope condition, which is a red line, it significantly reduced. The slope was significantly reduced. It's not just as the study 1, but statistically, the positive effect of perceived goal progress was reduced. Also, to see just a glimpse of the direction, I attached this graph. In study 3, the last experiments, I come up with 5% versus 95% again. However, in this time, crowdfunding scenario. And again, I come up with a news article regarding control low hope and versus high hope. Hypothesis 1 was supported. Hypothesis 2 also supported. 3 supported. And 4 was not supported. However, I tested the moderate serial mediation it was supported. So why hypothesis 4 was not supported? It was because it moderated the hopeful news moderated perceived behavior impact and collective outcome expectancy. So it means that when the collective outcome expectancy is not there, it moderates the effect of perceived behavior impact on collective action intention. But when the collective outcome expectancy exists, then it specifically moderates this relationship between perceived behavior impact and collective outcome expectancy. So here now you also see the red line when the high hope, when hope is high, the positive effect is reduced. The slope is significant, statistically significant. So here is a summary. In study 1, hypothesis 1, 2, 3 was supported. In study 2, we show the moderated mediation effect of hopeful news. In study 4, we show the moderated mediation effect. Oh, here it's my mistake. It's all supported is not supported. So the hypothesis 5, which is a moderated serial mediation, is ultimately, I would say, the finding of my research. Here comes a conclusion. People are more motivated as the shared goal approaches because they think that there is some progress toward the goal. This is because people do feel that their behaviors are having more impact on the collective performance. People's expectation of social outcome that we can solve climate crisis is actually can be increased by individuals' behavior impact on collective performance. However, hopeful news can deter this effect. So practical contribution to promote collective action for climate crisis. First, we need to set a concrete numeric performance goal to make people feel that there are some progress. The second, make people believe that we are getting closer to the goal matters. Third, make individual stakeholders believe that your contribution matters to collective performance, promote collective action. However, be careful and be cautious on the hopeful message that it is highly expected because the previous efforts actually can be nullified by that. So this is my end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate if you can give some comments or questions. Thank you. And just to make sure, here I'll write down my email address here. So if you have questions later or some comments, please feel free to reach out. This is actually based on my doctoral thesis, and I'm now expanding my research, several researches based on this research model. So my doctoral thesis actually just deals with collective action, the goal proximity effect, which is a double mediation, serial mediation effect. And this time I tested the moderation effect of hopeful news, which was quite interesting for me because it's very counterintuitive probably to say that hopeful news can actually deter or nullify the positive effect of goal proximity. Yes, please. Gautam Thank you so much. If you don't mind, probably you can speak if it is more convenient for you.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Hi.
So this is hi, very interesting topic, and the methodology specifically that you use for experimentation purpose. Right? So hello.
Yes, yes, I
So
hear
I
you.
was just I was just looking like what time duration it took you to like complete all the work. I mean the experimentation part, the for all the three studies.
Oh, okay. You mean like design, including designing and analyzing it, or just you mean like running the experiments on online, like getting?
Only experimentation part.
Oh, actually, it's very, very easy and very quick. I think in each study, I recruited like 200 participants. So like, and it takes less than a day. You know, yeah, because I use academic survey platform which is called Prolific. Uh,
Sorry, which one?
yeah, I'll write down in the chat. It's
Okay.
called Prolific. So it's a UK based academic platform, and
Okay.
it's very similar to MTurk, Amazon. You know Amazon MTurk.
MTech. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I prefer using Prolific because it's more people expect that participants. There are more details that I can control, and also it's
Okay.
very quick. It's very quick, and participants are paying attention enough in the scenarios. So I pay based on how long does it take to the survey, and um, it's a very quick and very easy. So it's not it takes not that long to actually run the experiments, but time consuming process is designing and analyzing it. It takes time, but
Of
running itself
course.
is very quick and easy.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I see a question in the chat.
Yes, Lucas, thank you for the question. You said, have you ever thought about measuring real behavior? You could include donation, your survey, choice between reward and donation. Yes, a very good, very good suggestion and insights. Yes, actually, I run a real behavior experiments, and two experiments I actually implemented. One was a blood drive. So in the university campus, I saw students that like 5% of goal achieved, which means that 5% people donated their blood, and 95%. So students tend to show higher participation in 95%. In another study, I tested the real behavior of cigarette butt littering. So I set a kind of a specifically designed um, cigarette bin and show them different style of different proximity scenarios. But the thing was that the hypothesis one was actually proved right. But in terms of a mediator and also in terms of hopeful news, I'll probably thinking about testing real behavior in terms of hopeful news in later probably. And here I want to show you a picture of it. Let me just give me 1 second. Oh yeah. Thanks for the question. I just want to share. Uh, yeah, yeah. Here was a real behavior study. So you now see the. Oh, can you see the slide? Too? Can you see the picture?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So in the university, we set a specially designed bin, and it says out of 4 kilograms, 1 kilogram of liter cigarette butt collected. So I collected the cigarette butts, and hypothesis 1 was supported. And this is the blood drive in the university. So we collected, like, in this condition is a low goal proximity, and another high goal proximity in this scenario. So actually, hypothesis 1 was supported, but hopeful news not. Well, I'll try later. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hi, Yachiu Lee. Hi, Kian. Thank you for your thank you very much for your presentation. I have a small question about the newspaper that you show. Do you get inspiration from the article? What does it talk about? Why did you decide to conduct a research project based on the article? Thank you for the question. Okay. Actually, maybe there are a lot of different ways to control hope, to control people to have high hope regarding climate crisis or low hope regarding climate crisis. But there were not many researches actually on hope and climate crisis. Actually, I found just one research paper, and I just and just based on that article, I adopted this very same news article out of it. So because I don't want to like design the news article, probably there are a lot of like discussions can go on regarding it. So I just took article out of the previous research, prior published research, and I can give you the name of this article. Probably it will help. So I wanted to test the moderation effect of hope, because I think in climate crisis many times people's level of hope make changes, right? Because many people doubting, and many people do have a very low level of hope regarding solving climate crisis. So like every time governments or international community want to persuade people that we can do it, but actually not many people probably believing it or trust. So many people think that it's really challenging. But at the same time, as I show you on the previous example of ozone layer protection, actually there are some cases that collectively we solve the huge environmental crisis. So I think that hopeful news, like hopeful message, can actually I wanted to examine what is the effect of hope on this kind of issue. And here I give you the paper of which tested the effect of hope. So if you can go more detail in this paper. Thank you. And please feel free to reach out to me, whether it's through email or through LinkedIn. So I will continue to pursue my research topic in this, especially hope. So, and if you are interested about the negative effect of hope, and please please contact me and let's collaborate and let's study together and let's research together. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you don't have time, if you don't have any more questions, then I think probably we can end this. And thank you so much for organizing it.
Sure.
Paula, thank you so much
Yeah.
for helping me. Yeah, it's actually I'm now in Korea. It's approaching 11 p.m. So it's a different time zone. But I'm so glad that I can meet you guys in the Zoom because I cannot make to the Nashville. But still, it's a very great opportunity to meet you guys all. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank everyone for coming out and have a great rest of your night and or morning, depending where you are.
Thank you.
Welcome. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.